Alright, hello YouTubers. So I thought you might find this interesting. I've just repaired, with my wife's help, thank goodness, a Thermador 6-burner cooktop, model number 366, but I'm not sure that's so relevant. So you've got basically the two simmer controllers here on the right. You've got the 4 burners, on the left I should say, you've got 4 burners on the right. And nestling down below you've got the gas solenoids for the simmers. You've got the simmer control electronics, which is like $700 worth there, and you've got the igniter box there, which I managed to pick up for $30. I've actually replaced, so the problem was that the cooktop we've had for 20 years, and it's always been very erratic to light. The clickers sometimes light, some igniters sometimes light, sometimes they won't, and we were just getting frustrated, and then it sort of really died on us, and nothing seemed to work. So long story short, I took it apart and I've replaced the pots, the potentiometers on the simmer controllers. That was nice and easy. There's plenty of videos on that, very straightforward. I also replaced the large, very expensive, $30 each one of these ceramic igniters. I also, and I'll explain in a second, I've also replaced the igniter box, but actually that was unnecessary. I've replaced the solenoids. That was probably unnecessary as well. But long story short, I put this all together and I very carefully followed the wiring diagram and put it back together. Oh, actually, and I've replaced some of these wires, and I carefully put it together the same way that I took it apart, and basically nothing really seemed to improve. And we were finding it very strange that one, actually, if I got this in plugged in, let me just plug it in. There we go. Always unplug when you're playing with electricity. So this one at the back would always work nicely, right? It lights, igniter stop, good to go. The others just seem to have a mind of their own, and they seem to randomly light. Sometimes we had to use the manual igniter to ignite it, and then when we lit it, it would just carry on clicking. It just couldn't seem to fathom it. I earthed everything. I even ended up earthing the igniter, trying to see if that would stop it, and nothing would work. Anyway, so what are we going to do? But then, fortunately, my wife, lovely wife, you'll notice that there's a pin output here that basically, which you would think one would go to number 1 burner, 2 would go to number 2 burner, but which one's number 1 and which one's number 2, right? Very difficult. There's nothing obvious on any of these to say which is 1 and 2. And long story short, we managed to find on Appliances Pro, we managed to find a wiring diagram, and what it should have had was there, right? So number 1 on the igniter should be left front, number 2 should be left rear, 3 right rear, yada yada. And what did we actually have? We had this, right? So, and this has been like this for 20 years. We've sat there, I don't know who wired this up, but must be a total moron. And you can see that the left front was actually wired to the center front. Now the left rear always worked. No surprises, because it actually was one of the ones that was actually correctly wired. Number 3 here, the right rear was, the right rear was actually the right front. These two are back to front. This one always worked great, not surprising, because that was actually, so there was actually, of the 6, only 2 of them were wired correctly. So, needless to say, changed the wires around to what they should have been, and this was the one that always lit well, and it works great. This one, when I would light it, it would just click away, nothing would stop it. Come on, baby, work, come on. All right, you might need a little help here. Come on, go. There we go. And the clicking stops. You can tell the igniter isn't exactly the best design, but it works. And oh, there we go. And it lights and the clicking stops. It's a little erratic, come on. There was nothing spark there, what it used to be. Of course it was working fine, that's not. Come on. There we go. So, little random, I don't know why, the gap is supposed to be about you can see the little earthing pin there, the gap is supposed to be about a nickel apart, and I'm going to say I've pretty much got that, so I might just tighten them up a bit just to help the spark process as well. That's quite easy. you basically, to narrow the gap, I take the burner off, and then I just get you don't want to squeeze these two, that will snap. You want to get a little screwdriver and lever it against the side of the burner there and kind of lever it over a bit. They bend pretty easy. So anyway, so it turned out to be a wiring problem that was basically right back to the original install. Whoever installed it didn't wire it in correctly. So go and find yourself a wiring diagram, double check. These wires on the side was a little chaotic. I did try to actually follow the wiring there, but that proved to be harder than I could imagine, because for something as simple as a cooktop, this does seem to have an awful lot of wiring. But anyway, thought that would help, and yeah, good luck with your repair.